Presented by Cursed by the Witch. Warning, use headphones before listening to horror podcast story.
This Halloween season we are presenting secrets of witchcraft and lots of witch stories. Blood and Bone, A Witch's Tale is a dark and unsettling story about ancient magic, sacrifice, and the haunting past of a small, airy village cursed by a witch's wrath. The tale is steeped in dread, as a young woman finds herself entangled in a horrifying legacy of blood rituals and bone-chilling secrets that stretch back centuries. Set in the desolate town of Elderwood, the story begins with a simple warning: never disturb the old grounds where bones lie and blood was once spilled. The villagers, for generations, have lived under a powerful curse placed by Isolde Blackburn, a witch with a terrifying vendetta against the townsfolk who betrayed her. Part 1. The Witch's Curse on Elderwood. Centuries ago, Elderwood was a prosperous village, but prosperity came at a price. To protect their wealth, the townsfolk struck a secret pact with a powerful witch named Isolde Blackburn. In exchange for the witch's protection and blessings, the villagers agreed to honor her with offerings and respect. However, greed and fear grew over time, and the villagers turned against Isolde, accusing her of bringing dark misfortune to their land. Betrayed, she was captured, tortured, and executed on the ancient stone altar in the heart of the forest. Her body left for the crows and her blood staining the earth. With her dying breath, Isolde cursed the village, vowing that her spirit would never rest until every drop of blood owed to her was paid in full. Her curse was sealed in blood and bone, a ritual that bound her soul to the land, and she condemned Elderwood to an eternity of suffering. Since then, strange occurrences have plagued the village: storms that last for weeks, crops that wither overnight, and inexplicable disappearances that leave behind only bones and fragments of clothing. To this day, the villagers live in terror, haunted by the ghostly presence of the witch, who appears every decade on the night of the blood moon, seeking revenge and reminding them of the debt still unpaid. Part 2. The protagonist's dark inheritance. In the present, Elena Marsh, a young historian with ancestral ties to Elderwood, returns to the village to claim an inheritance left by her estranged grandmother. Elena knows little of her family's past but is curious about the dark tales she heard as a child. Her grandmother's last wish was for Elena to live in the family's old manor on the outskirts of the village, a sprawling, decaying estate shrouded in mystery and rumored to be cursed. Upon arrival, Elena discovers her grandmother's journals, filled with cryptic entries about blood sacrifices, witchcraft rituals, and bone charms hidden throughout the manor. Strange and disturbing incidents begin almost immediately: whispered voices that seem to come from the walls, shadowy figures flitting through the hallways, and an inexplicable pull toward the forest, especially on moonlit nights. As she delves deeper into her grandmother's journals, she learns that her own bloodline is tied to Isolde Blackburn's curse. Her family, once members of the coven who worshipped Isolde, betrayed her to the townsfolk in a desperate attempt to save themselves, and now they are forever marked by the curse. Driven by curiosity and a sense of duty to uncover the truth, Elena begins to unravel the secrets of her lineage. The deeper she digs, the more she realizes that her family's betrayal of Isolde was only part of a larger, darker ritual, one that requires a final sacrifice to break the curse for good. But there is a terrible cost, and Elena's own life is at stake. Part 3. The Haunted Forest and the Blood Moon. Elena's research leads her to the Forest of the Damned, a forbidden area where bones are said to appear overnight, laid out in disturbing patterns as if by some unseen hand. The villagers warn her to stay away, but something about the forest calls to her, an ancient power she cannot resist. She begins to dream of the forest at night, and in these dreams, she sees Isolde's spirit, her face twisted with pain and rage, leading Elena deeper and deeper into the heart of the woods. As the night of the blood moon approaches, Elena realizes that she is not the only one drawn to the forest. The spirits of those who wronged Isolde, including members of her own family, are bound to the curse and doomed to wander the forest, waiting for the day when Isolde's revenge will finally be complete. She sees visions of the ancient coven performing blood rituals, chants echoing through the night as they offer their loyalty to the dark forces in exchange for protection and power. Elena learns that on the night of the blood moon, the boundary between the living and the dead is weakest, allowing Isolde's spirit to exact her vengeance fully. Those with Blackburn blood, like Elena, are especially vulnerable. The only way to end the curse is to return to the altar where Isolde was killed, offering a final sacrifice in blood and bone. Part 4. The Final Sacrifice. Determined to end the curse, Elena gathers what she needs to perform a counter-ritual: blood, bone, and relics from her grandmother's belongings that contain the remnants of ancient spells. She makes her way to the altar in the heart of the forest, guided by the ominous, whispering voices of the cursed souls. As she approaches the altar, she feels the weight of the curse pressing down on her, as if 1,000 eyes are watching, waiting. In a trance-like state, Elena begins the ritual, invoking the spirits of her ancestors and calling upon the power of the blood moon to break the curse. But as she speaks the final words, the air around her turns cold, and she feels the presence of Isolde herself. The witch's spirit, twisted and enraged, appears before her, her eyes glowing with unearthly fire. Isolde demands vengeance for her betrayal, and the only way to satisfy the curse is for Elena to offer her own blood willingly. With trembling hands, Elena spills her blood onto the altar, feeling her strength drain as the ritual takes hold. The forest around her grows silent, the air thick with the scent of iron and decay. For a moment, it seems as if the curse is broken, but then Elena realizes that the ritual was incomplete. Her life alone is not enough. In a final act of desperation, she recites a binding spell she found in her grandmother's journal, hoping to trap Isolde's spirit within the altar itself, forever locking her away from the living. As she completes the spell, the ground trembles, and a scream pierces the night as Isolde's spirit is torn from the earthly realm, bound once more to the blood-stained stones of the altar. Part 5. The Aftermath. With the curse lifted, the villagers emerge from their homes, relieved but wary of what the future holds. The forest, once haunted by the spirits of the dead, grows quiet, and the sinister presence that hung over the village begins to dissipate. But the cost is heavy. Elena is gone, her spirit bound to the land as part of the ritual. Elderwood, free from the curse of Isolde Blackburn, is forever changed. The village no longer fears the blood moon or the whispers in the forest, but they remember the price of their freedom. The altar, still stained with the blood of sacrifices, stands as a reminder of the horrors that once plagued them. Elena's sacrifice becomes a legend, her story passed down through generations as a cautionary tale of betrayal, magic, and the ultimate price of power. Though the curse has been lifted, the villagers know that the darkness of the past never truly disappears, and the specter of Isolde Blackburn lingers in their memories, a reminder that some debts can only be paid in blood and bone.
Thank you for watching. Just like and subscribe.